Hey guys, welcome to Flicks Talk. I'm Nia. So, I've been seeing some videos online and articles online about this, so I thought I'd do my own since I used to work in a movie theater. And so there's articles about, secrets that movie theater employees don't want you to know, or just secrets about the movie theaters that I guess they don't want customers or regular people to know. But here's the thing, this one's gonna be a little bit different since I worked in the movie theater back in the 90s. I can pretty much only speak for the 90s. I can comment about today's, but I guess mainly this video will be about the differences between the 90s versus the 2020s. 30-year difference of movie theater. So that's what I'm gonna do. I have some questions that I got off a website that I can answer, answer from the 90s perspective versus today's. Some of them are pretty much the same. Some of the questions are actually, or situations are actually easier to get away with today versus then. So there's a little bit of pros and cons of today, and then there's definitely pros and cons from, the 90s. So, and then, I'll maybe touch on differences. Some, just depends on, there's a lot of questions that I have, but I'm only going to answer some, but not all, because some of these are kind of repetitive, but just asked in a different way. So, I'll just kind of cover all those questions, the multiple questions, in like one question. So, number one question is is the popcorn fresh? Well, okay. You go to a movie theater today, you see the popper right behind the concession stand. So today, it's fresh because you see them popping popcorn. The theater where I worked for 3 different companies. I worked for Carmike, Regal, and Rave. Carmike was the one I spent the longest time in. I worked in a theater that was, built in the 80s maybe. I opened in the 80s. But, so, we didn't have the popper where the customer can see it, but we did have one, and we had a big one too. We had a double kettle, a big one with a double kettle. So, but it was in the back room. So we had these yellow bags, big long bags, and we would transport the popped popcorn from the back. We would fill up the bag of popcorn and take it out to the front of the concession stand and put it in the popcorn warmer. Customers saw that, they thought we bought the popcorn. Management would always take them back, and they didn't have a problem. Here, look, I'll show you. And they took them back to the back room, showed them the popper, and they're like, okay, just didn't have room to put it behind the concession stand. That theater was too old to have it for the customer to see. So, and we just had to have a way to transport the popped popcorn from the popper in the back room to the concession stand to the popcorn warmer. Now, Friday, Saturdays, and Sunday afternoons, yeah, we pretty much popped popcorn. Anyway, now, if it's during the school year, and then, Monday through Thursday, it was very dead. I'm quite sure the popcorn wasn't fresh on Monday and Tuesdays because they just used whatever was left over on Sunday for at least definitely Monday, maybe Tuesday. I think Wednesday, I'm quite sure they popped more, maybe just to make it fresher or just because they needed more popcorn because they went through it. So in the 90s, yeah, the first show probably didn't have the fresh popcorn, especially on Fridays. But then after that, we popped popcorn nonstop. I popped popcorn plenty of times. I know how. even though I had to clean the kettles. So, yeah, but today, yeah, there is no question that they are fresh because worked for Rave, we popped popcorn. Like about 30, I think we started about 30 minutes before the box office opened. That way that we had some popped popcorn for anyone who wanted some for the first set of shows. So more likely today, yeah, definitely fresh. 90's, certain times, certain days you would have fresh. The newer theaters that were being built in the 90's started putting the popper outside where, behind the concession stand where customers can see it. So, but my theater where I worked, nope. Even Regal didn't even have, the popper was actually in the back, I believe, or in the back room, but their concession stand was in the middle of the lobby, so we had to walk across the lobby to fill it. So I don't think we had the popper. Yeah, I don't remember everything else but that in that theater. It's weird. Employees watch movies before they are released. Can't really talk about today, but there is a reason why the employees or management would watch the movies in the 90's. The biggest difference is that in the 90's, it was film. Sent in with 2 big cans, and they were heavy. Some of them were 3 or 4 cans, depending if it was like a long movie like Titanic or Braveheart, which was like 10 reels. 3-hour movies, 10 reels, which we had to build up, splice together, film. Today, they're digital. They're literally just kind of like a file that's sent to the theater, and there's your movie. So there's, ta-da! So it's different today versus then. So 90's, they mainly, not just Thursday nights, mainly for Carmike, it was management only, or the person or the projectionist that built up the print. Regular employees couldn't, because I guess they had to wait till the Friday for the movie to open. It was just a rule. But they mainly watched the film in the 90's to make sure that it was spliced correctly, that it wasn't misspliced, and movies, it ran fine and there wasn't any problems, pretty much. Rather than just to see a movie and whether it's good or not. That's one of the main reasons. Today, when they see it, I know Rave and Regal, they didn't care who saw the movie. Anybody, just, come on. Thursday night, midnight, let's go, whatever. So, but today, now, if they preview or watch the movie Thursday nights or before the movie opens, it's literally just to see if it's good or not. That way they can recommend it or not to a customer. That's what I gather. Because digital came out, so it's digital versus film. I prefer film because it's just better. Because all of a sudden one day I noticed, years ago, it was like, we don't get, it's like, well, like, have you ever noticed when you go to a movie that it's always in frame and is always in focus? Because that was one of the big complaints working in the 90's. It's out of frame, it's out of focus. So we had to call up to the projection booth, hey, fix number, because we always use the theater number versus the movie title. Just in case if there's a lot of customers on the lobby, we didn't want to announce, hey, there's a problem with their movie. So we always use the auditorium number. Hey, number 3 is out of focus. Number 5 is, out of frame or whatever. So, but sometime in the mid-2000s, it was like, they're never out of frame. They're always in focus. So that took care of that problem once it became digital. So there you go. So that's the whether employees can watch it or not. Sometimes, I know I was able to preview Aladdin in 92 when it came out, before it came out, because they had they allowed the employees to watch it. So I was like, oh, cool. So I got to see it before it came out. And I saw the very ending of Bodyguard too, which I kind of got dinged for that. But I was like, dude, I saw the tail end, like last 2 minutes. I know how it ends. Now I just got to see the rest of the movie. Whatever. Refunds, if you had a bad experience. Movie theaters will do their best to not give you your money back. They will give you passes, which sometimes actually passes are better because they are worth the most expensive movie ticket, like the adult ticket at night. That's how much they are worth. So it's almost better if you get the pass than your money. But I'm quite sure if you, complain a lot and make a big stink out of the situation, they'll just give you your money back. But they'll do their best. Hey, just take the passes. You can use it anytime, any theater, they'll kind of butter it up like that. So, totally up to you. Now, when it comes to concessions, because that's for the tickets. Now, the concessions, if you want your money back on that, then you have to, give up your cup, your popcorn bag or bucket, and then if you bought candy, you have to give them that back, unless you're going to keep that. And then just get your money back for the popcorn or drink. But because, they that's how they keep track of their inventories, by the cups and the bags or buckets. Depends on what they use to put the popcorn in. So there's that. At least that was in the 90's. Today it's pretty much, I think, the same. I don't think that really changed too much. Employees can get in trouble if outside food is brought in. Well, considering now that some theaters actually serve, they have a kitchen and they serve more than just the standard, popcorn and candy and drinks, it's pretty much, it's easy for you to sneak in food now versus in the 90's. My theater had candy, popcorn, drinks. Ta-da! That's it. So, but if customers would complain about people with outside food if it had a strong aroma, if they totally could tell that it didn't come from the movie theater, that obviously, hey, someone's eating chicken wings and fries. It's just whatever. So, whatever the case may be, they told on them. So, to management, other employees, whatever. So, but yeah, I think now it's totally easy to get in with outside food. I personally bring in my candy because I'm not going to spend $10 for something I buy for 98 cents down the street at Walmart. Or some just way cheaper. Same size and everything, same exact thing, but fraction of the price. So other than that, I mean, I worked in the 90's. I saw a lot of stuff. People brought in their own popped popcorn, and of course their own drinks, their own candy. So it's easier now than it was then. But we didn't search people's bags, even though I think I did go to a theater that the usher was searching bags, which I think was illegal to do. If it was a big backpack or something, yeah. But large purse or something, it's if they made it in with it, then they made it in with it to me. I wouldn't search it. Though, there was one time, though, this guy brought in a silver metal briefcase, and that fling and big red flags on everyone's face. Wait a minute, why is he coming in with that metal briefcase? We notified management immediately, told him what movie he went to, and management took care of that. Ended up being nothing major. I just don't know why that guy would bring his briefcase into the theater. He didn't need it. He's going to be in dark. What was he going to do? work on some work while watching the movie, but it's going to be dark. So, did he gonna have like a little light with him or something? It's whatever. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I think it was just papers and stuff in the briefcase, but still, it was just, why go back to your hotel up the hill, put it in your room, and then come back? You know. Yeah, but that was big red flags on that one. It's like, wait a minute. We didn't let that go. Alcoholic drinks. It's easier today because some theaters have bars, so it's no big deal now. Then I remember seeing just little travel bottles that I would pick up while cleaning the theaters, the auditorium. So those were obviously snuck in and so small and probably in someone's pocket. You know, we're not going to body search it. It's not like, you know, TSA. You have to go through a TSA to get to a movie, even though nowadays maybe we do need metal detectors. But when it comes to like bringing in food and stuff, right now I think it's way easier to get away with now than it was in the 90's. So some of these are also like misconceptions, like, you know, like the theaters, like the movie theaters, auditoriums are only cleaned at the end of the day. Well, can't really speak about some of the theaters today, but I think maybe they do this too. But when I worked at the theater in the 90's at Carmike, or the Colonnade. I worked at the Colonnade, Carmike Colonnade. It's no longer a movie theater, it's a gym now, so I can go ahead and call it the Colonnade. Thumbs up for the Colonnade, woohoo! Cheer for, you know, those who worked with me. Whoever, if you watch, hello. But this is what we did, cleaning-wise. You can go to a movie theater now, see a movie, and when you're done with your movie, you can physically see employees coming to clean the theater after your show. They come with a trash can on wheels and broom and dustpan. So that right there should tell you that they clean between shows. We cleaned between shows. When we did a quick cleanup, it wasn't like a spick and span 100%, you know, job after each show. We didn't have that enough time. But we picked up, you know, the customers who left their cups or bags or buckets, candy wrappers, whatever. Large items, we picked them up, we threw them away, we swept the floor of any large spills and just whatever. We cleaned it up as much as we could. You know, we had a little, you know, sweeper you push back and forth, kind of like the, you know, vacuum sweeper thingies to do the carpet. So we did that. You know, a whole group of us would go in, bam, you know. We each had a job. One would just do the carpet, one would do the push broom back and forth. The other people would be on the back just sweep, you know, picking up the, you know, the dustpan. You know, so it's, you know, we worked as a team. It was like, boom, in and out. We each had a little duty, in and out. But but during the night, like we had a cleaning crew that came in like 2 or 3 in the morning, and they would come and like do the cleaning. You know, hose it down or whatever, mop it, clean it, you know. We cleaned after each show, except for the last show. The cleaning crew that came in early morning would do that. They cleaned the restrooms. The employees would clean the restrooms during the day. Anything during the day, the theater took care of. The cleaning crew took care of anything after like the last show, and everything else. When I worked at Rave, though, I had to clean the auditoriums after each show, after the last show. So I don't think they had a cleaning crew that came in, because I had to stay there and sweep after. It's like, you don't have a cleaning crew for this? So, but anyway, Rave became now, well, it was Carmike, and then now it's AMC. So we have AMC here. Anyway, here you go. Employees probably won't pass on complaints to management. If you have a complaint about something, you go to the first person you see. Usually it's a maybe someone who's like an usher, or maybe the concession stand attendant or whatever, but um, most of the complaints that I had to deal with can easily be fixed by the employee before it becomes a major problem for it to go to management. Like in the 90's, they would come out, hey, it's, their movie was out of frame or out of focus. We would just call up. We would actually tell the box office person, the box office had a phone. They would call up to the projection booth, say, hey, this movie is out of frame or out of focus or whatever. That took care of it. Didn't even need management for that. If it was a temperature problem in the auditorium, we told manager, because that's supposedly that's where they controlled the thermostats for each auditorium. So other than that, we really didn't have, that was pretty much most of the complaints, was either it started late or it's too loud or whatever, but all that is, if it's the sound or something's wrong with the picture on the screen, that was all projection. Easy enough fix, just call up there, say, hey, fix it. Now I don't think you don't even hear out of frame, out of focus, even though there actually can be out of focus a little bit, because I did watch one that's slightly out of focus. That's the downfall working in a movie theater, and you know how to work projection, you know whether it's out of focus or not. Even if it's just the slightest, you can tell. I can tell. I was like, ugh, it's almost like a curse. It really is. At least it's not as bad as it used to be. Even if it's a slightly out of frame too, I knew it. It was like, ugh, like they needed to frame it. But it wasn't bad enough for them to go fix it. But it's like you could tell, just slightly out of frame. Like, oh. Okay. Oh, here we go. This one's easy to sneak into a rated R movie if you're underage. Yeah, dude, you buy your tickets online now. Who's going to check whether you're 17 or over to see a rated R film? So, I mean, I guess it's up to the person who scans the little barcode, or the QR code or whatever. Because some theaters give you a physical ticket and some theaters don't. So now, yeah, you can. And also, probably, you can even buy like a child's ticket. I think there's one, on here about that. Yeah, since you do everything online now, you can easily. Adults can most likely try it. I'm probably going to try it one day just to see if I can get away with it, because I don't think they'll even check. Adults purchase child ticket. I'm quite sure they won't do anything. The theaters don't make hardly anything on movie tickets, so that they won't care. They make their money from the concession stand. So try adults, buy a child's ticket, go to a movie. They're not going to check. See, now in the 90's, one of my managers, he was from New York, so that's when we were strict on rated R films. And there's a lot of parents that would go up to the box office, purchase tickets for their kids to a rated R film. But my manager, and of course, we had to follow his rules, so we wouldn't let the underage, under 17, in a rated R film without a parent or legal guardian. So Friday nights and Saturdays, when the parents drop their kids off at the movies and they go out to dinner and have, dinner with their friends. Well, they're called, their parents, so their children calls their parents, hey, we can't get into the movie, the manager won't let us in. Because they misrepresented themselves. And so my manager, he would not let them in. He's like, you have to go in there with them. You can't purchase the tickets for them. You have to go in there and see the movie with them. That made parents mad. That made parents mad. They said, well, I bought the tickets. I approve of them seeing it. And my manager's like, sorry. I mean, that's fine and dandy, but you still have to go in there and see the movie with them. We can't let them in. They're not 17. That was then. Now, yeah, dude, I mean, since you buy your tickets online, he's going to check. I doubt the door person who scans the card, scans a little barcode or whatever on your off your phone for digital tickets, they're not going to see whether there's a they'll see what movie it is and go. They're not going to waste their time like, are you like 17? Let me see your ID. They're not going to do that. So yeah, go for it. There may be some theaters, depends on management of the theater, but I'm quite sure mostly, especially y'all, go ahead. I'm seriously though, serious. Buy a child's ticket. They're not going to see if it's adult or child's ticket sold to a certain movie. Person that scans that barcode, say, okay, your movie's on your left. In auditorium 5 or whatever. I mean, just go on in. So yeah, it's easier to get in now than it was then. So that's what I say. I didn't want to skip some of these here. Butter. Listen, guys, listen. The buttery topping is not real. We all know it's not real, okay? It's an oil. It came in like a box of like 4 1-gallon jugs. And when it's not heated and cool, it looks like butter. It looks like a jug of, it looks like yellow butter. It looks like butter, okay? You pour it in, even though it's a little bit more liquid state, but you pour it into the popcorn warmer, then it turns into kind of clear, but it's still yellow, like clear oil. So we know it's not real. And if you look online to like goldmedalproducts.com or goldmedal.com, they sell a lot of popcorn, like movie theater stuff and carnival stuff, for like popcorn poppers and raw popcorn and all this. Everything that you need to actually operate a movie theater for a concession stand, they sell all that stuff. So you can kind of know what they sell, as in butter-wise. So, voila. And what we did is, our butters were a little bit, butter warmers were different at the Colonnade. It was on top of the warmer, it was in a bowl, and we had to clean it every night. And we would just pour the unused butter back into the jug, and then, just reuse it until, because it was still good, it's not like it was bad, we never had any. It was always good. I never even noticed anything bad about the butter. No black spots or mold or anything. It was like, because my manager from New York, there's some kind of formula. I never learned his formula, but there's some kind of formula that he knew, excuse me, about ordering stuff and actually staying, not really over ordering and not under ordering. He just knew just the perfect amount of what to order and when and how often. It was just amazing. He was great. He was the best manager I worked under, really, ever. Yeah, as I said, here's another one about being digital tickets here. You're going to be unnoticed if you sneak into a second movie. No one's going to know. Just get the app of the theater. I have AMC. I use the app to purchase tickets. You go in there and see what seats are taken since they're reserved seating now. See what seats that aren't reserved, that aren't bought, and just go sit in them. I'm trying not to get y'all in trouble, but I'm telling you, this is how easy it is to sneak in now with digital tickets. So, in the 90's, we would use the projectionist to, hey, look, and through the window, look down, see if there's anybody in the auditorium. They said, yeah, there's 3 people, and the manager said, well, we haven't sold any tickets for them, for that movie, so obviously, they snuck in. So sometimes we would use the projectionist to, okay, hey, kind of do their own little surveillance or, checking in on the theaters from up above. Now, you can kind of stay out in the hallway or hide out in the bathroom and then go in right before when the ads are on or the trailers are on and just sit where no one else is sitting. That's really how easy it is to sneak in and see more movies. It really is. It's then, back in the 90's, it wasn't as easy. I'm too honest. I would go and buy a ticket. That's just me. Unless I'm really mad and it's like, I'll get you back. Movie theater, but nah. I pretty much already covered that. So, employees have power to kick you out? No, I don't think so. If my manager gave me, the authority to kick someone out, that's a little bit different. But in the 90's, the management would take care of it if we had problems. Because, as I said, parents would drop off their kids at the theater and go have dinner out with their friends or whatever. Yeah, the Colonnade was like a daycare for middle school kids, pretty much middle school, maybe 5th graders and 9th graders too, but mainly middle schoolers. And we literally had to babysit. They would be in and out of the theater, in and out, in and out. And it's like, there's people actually in the auditorium wanting to watch the movie and not be interrupted with you going in and out, in and out. And we had complaints, and when that happened, management would go and take care of the problem. They would say either stay in, I think he either made them go into theater and stay in there, or they would have to leave. I think that was the only option he gave them. So, because they said you can't keep going in and out, you're interrupting, people who actually paid to come and see the movie and not just kind of hang out. So, yeah, our theater, Colonnade, was a hangout on Friday nights and Saturday nights. We were literally a daycare for middle schoolers. It's like, I should have been paid more for babysitting. Anyway. People can get frisky. Yeah, people can get frisky in the theaters. Then now, I'm quite sure they mainly do it up on top now since it's stadium seating. Most theaters are stadium seating, so they do it on top and probably the last show of the night. And of course, maybe some inappropriate items may be found if it went that far. But if they did go into a movie theater, if they did go into a movie that had more people in it, and I think they were told on, then maybe management would go in there, or maybe a door person would take it among themselves to stop it before it got that far, before any clothing would come off or whatever. So anyway, yeah, it happens. Here we go. This one, I'm quite sure this one happens now way more than it happened back in the 90's, okay? That they will serve you food that has fallen on the floor. Now that you can go and pretty much have your dinner at the movies, you can have chicken fingers, pizza, hot dogs, whatever else food that they sell besides the normal like candy and popcorn and nachos. Yeah, I'm quite sure, stuff maybe have fallen on the floor. And they'll serve it to you. Not, to me, right now, they would do it more now. My theater just had candy, popcorn, and drinks. That's it. When I worked for Regal, they had nachos and bottled water. Still has under drinks, but they had nachos. When I worked for Rave, they had hot dogs and pickles. I don't eat hot stuff, like hot food, like that kind of food at movie theaters. No hot dogs. No, I'll eat nachos, candy, and popcorn. That's it. Anything else? Nope. Unless I bring it with me, myself. But yeah, to me, right now, today's with, they'll deliver your food to your seat in the auditorium, which is great. Great feature. But if you order anything from like the kitchen, it might be, falling on the floor, and they'll serve it to you. They're not going to throw it away. They should, but I'm quite sure people have eaten stuff that's fallen on the floor. I almost guarantee you. Anyway, celebrities, hey, they go to movies too. You never know who you may see when you go to a movie. Right down the street to a movie theater that's no longer open, but I do have a picture of Pauly Shore when he went there to see a movie. Courtney Cox went there to see Apollo 13 when it was out. That was in the first few years of Friends. She was there at a late night show. Let's see, the theater where I worked at the Colonnade, we had a band member of the Counting Crows. I think, of course, I'm never there when people are there, the celebrities are there. I was always there, but that always came when I wasn't there. I think Michael Jordan, during his Birmingham Barons days, went to the Colonnade to see a movie. But I was there pretty much every year for when the Alabama and Auburn, the Iron Bowl, played. Because the Alabama football team would come, and then the Auburn football team would come, or vice versa. But they would come. So Alabama was coached by Gene Stallings. So, hey, I got to see Gene Stallings. And Auburn was coached by Terry Bowden. So I saw him too. That's about it. And they alternated years, you know. Some years, the Alabama players were cleaner than Auburn. And then, like, the next year, Auburn was cleaner than the Alabama players because, you know, I had to go and clean up after them. So they alternated. There's not one team that was better than the other when it comes to cleanliness from a movie theater. They alternated. One was better than the other one year. So, celebrities, yeah. So you never know. Just keep your eyes peeled. You never know who you may see at the movies. Yeah. Here's one I wouldn't do. It's piracy now. Yeah, I wouldn't record movies, even though people all have their phones out all the time. So I wouldn't. You could probably get away with it. I think people have. I've seen people bits and parts, little clips online of movies that people have kind of videotaped. But I wouldn't risk it because you can get into serious trouble. So I wouldn't do it. While I mention phone, cell phones. Turn them off when you're in the theater. Turn them off. Put them on silent. Do not look at your phone during a movie. Very distracting. If you can't go without looking at your phone for a length of a movie, don't go to a movie theater. Don't go to a movie. You stay at home and watch a movie there. Don't look at your movie. Don't look at your phone during a movie. Very distracting. Oh my God, it's very distracting. It kind of irks me seeing people on their phones looking at Facebook or texting. Like, if you can't get off your phone long enough to see a movie, don't go to a movie. Stay home. So, you know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to someone specific. Stay off your phone during the movie. I swear. Take it, throw it away. Stay off of it. You know who I'm talking to. All right. Popcorn made days in advance for premieres. You know, I don't think so. We had working at the Colonnade, we had some Indian movies play occasionally. Would always put those movies in the biggest auditorium that we had, or one of the two biggest ones, and they would fill up. They would sell out, literally. And, you know, so you had a large population of the people from India, those Indians. They would come in and watch their movies, and we, as far as I know, we may have popped extra the same day, but not days in advance. I can't speak for every movie theater or every company, but back in the 90's, we just, because they would come either Friday night or they would, actually, I think they would come during the week and not really on the weekend. So we would pop popcorn. We would make sure there's enough popcorn so they would be popping just for that show, but that would be it. It wasn't like we popped days in advance. It would be the day of. So that's not as bad. It's still fresh. Popcorn, y'all, listen. Popcorn can keep. I sometimes come home from watching my movie. When I go to the movie theater, I get a large popcorn a lot of times because it's just cheaper. And I have at least half, if not more, left over. I just come home and put it in a Ziploc bag, and I eat off of it for like a week or two. So popcorn can keep. If it's sealed and you know, stored properly, you can keep for a while. So, yeah, I'm not gonna, yeah, okay. For those theaters who fix your drinks for you, most of your drink will be ice. So if you want more drink than ice, you need to specify, say light ice or very little ice, no ice. The drink comes cold out of the fountain anyway, but if they have those drink machines where you can fix your own drink, then you just fix it any way you want. But I'm just talking about some theaters, they still fix your drink for you. So if you want more drink than ice, you need to say so. If not, you have a cup full of ice and about that much drink. So say light ice, very little ice, no ice. So yeah. I think I already mentioned this. Concessions are money makers. That's where the movie theaters make their money. It's a concession. That's why I at least buy a drink. I may not be hungry for popcorn. I don't want or I may bring my candy and not have popcorn, but I always buy a drink because they'll help. I'm paying someone to I'm paying someone their salary. So at least I could do. I mean, I know I bought the ticket, but they get very little. I mean, so little from the ticket sales. So I'll buy at least a drink. So that's what I do. Pretty much, I'm just here. Stick to the classic movie snacks, okay? Candy, popcorn, drinks. I'll put nachos on there. Nachos, I think, are fine too. Anything else, you save your money. You save your money on hot dogs or pizza. You could probably buy a whole pizza for the price of like one slice at a movie theater, because they're so high. And you can probably get like a whole package of hot dogs for a price of one. So I mean, you getting my drift. Just either eat dinner or lunch, or eat your meal before you go to the theater, or wait till afterwards, and just have snacks like popcorn, nachos, or candy during the movie. I wouldn't even go for the hot food, because as I said, it could be served it from falling on the floor, and you're supposed to be spending all that money. I mean, I'm not a fan of eating hot food, that type of hot food at the theater. So popcorn sizes change all the time, yeah, but they're better. I think now they're a little bit bigger now. The popcorn buckets, I think, are bigger. But listen, this is what I want y'all to do. If you get popcorn and it's in a bag, remember, bags expand, okay? There's sometimes I have gone to a movie, and the concessionist would just kind of just barely open the bag, and he would keep the he would unfold the bag, and it would be like this big, right? And he would the concessionist would fill it up. If you like shake that bag down, it's like half full. I make them fill it up. Look, bags expand. Because working in theater, I've seen we would pack that popcorn into that bag, and we would like open the bag, expand it, bam, bam, and we did not get any complaints about the amount of popcorn in any size bag that they get. We filled that sucker up. So if you get popcorn in a bag, remember, the bags expand, and make sure they fill it up. Shake it down. That's what I do. I say, can you put more in there, please? I may let it go if it's a little bit from the top, but if it's like a few inches, I say, I spend all my money, my good money, or hard-earned money on you're gonna fill it up. Fill it up. Bags expand. Buckets don't, but bags do. So, remember, shake the bag down. Tell them to fill it up. It's the most profitable food item at a concession stand at a movie theater. Okay? Is popcorn. Make them fill it up. Okay? Make them. If they have a problem with it, ask for a manager. Say, listen, would you buy this for this amount of money? Look at this. Come on. It's half full when you shake it down. Make them fill it up. Your money. Mm-hmm. They don't give extra cups. That's right, they don't. Because that's how they do their inventory. They count by cups and popcorn bags or buckets, by candy, so they can't just give you an extra large cup or whatever, because then they'll be short that amount of money. It costs $5 for a cup, because that's what you're buying when you get a drink. You're buying the cup. You're not buying the drink, you're buying the cup. Because we had to take inventory every night. Every night we took inventory, counted all the bags, all the cups, all the nacho trays, all the candy, 100% every single night. So that's how we did have little courtesy cups that we gave out. Most of that some people use it for water, because working at the colony we didn't have bottled water. So we had water fountains that they can use these little small cups, little Dixie, bathroom cups almost, brush your teeth with, those type of cups, little small ones, maybe a little bit bigger, but small cups. And but a lot of them were used as dip cups. Nasty and unsanitary, and I hated cleaning up the theater, picking that up off the floor. Hated. It's like, man, it's so unsanitary. But anyway, yeah, they don't give extra cups, so might as well just buy a drink. Then you can refill it up with water. What I do with drinks, though, is I always get the large, because you get free refills. So I get one for the movie, and then I get me a fresh drink on my way out. And a lot of times it's like icy, even though I didn't pay for the icy price. Don't care. Large drink, large cup, I don't care. If you're going to leave it out where I get it myself, I'm going to get what I want. If you don't want customers to do that, keep the machines behind the counter. Movies, sometimes, they start late. Here are the reasons why movies may start late. Even from the 90's perspective to now, it's pretty much the same. We had movies, well, here's one, here's one that was purely 90's, okay? Purely 90's reason. Back in the day, when the movie theaters had showtimes in the newspaper, when it was still printed, sometimes the newspaper would print the wrong time. We would have one time, and the newspaper would have a different time. So the manager I worked under, he would, if the newspaper said it started at 1:20, but we're showing it at 1, my manager would say, okay, we'll just start at 1:10, just in between. That way, kind of compromise. So we'll let the people know at the 1 o'clock, say, listen, we have to keep it for 10 minutes because they said it was wrong in the newspaper. And that way people who think it starts at 1:10 to 1:20, they're not going to miss the movie. They'll miss, more ads in the trailers, and that way they'll be in there by the time the movie itself starts, type of situation. Or sometimes there's movies where they don't even have any trailers. So they hold it for 10 minutes almost, about the length of most of the trailers, and then they start it just because they want to make sure to give people time to get in. Then they'll start the movie, because that has happened before, because there's no trailers, especially if you see like an older film put out in the theaters, things that 30, 40 years old, whatever, movies that came out in the 80's, coming up back in the theater. They don't have any trailers on them, so they may start them late, or they need to say, if you're seeing this movie, be there right on time, because that's when the movie itself starts. That's not when the movie trailers, because some people think, hey, well, there's going to be about 20 minutes of movie trailers in front of this. But by the time they get in, it's already 20 minutes into the film. So they hold the film a little bit back. That's one reason that we did that. Then they probably do that now. I don't know. And sometimes even buying advance tickets, I almost got screwed. I'm just going to say screwed. Luckily, I got there early enough to see it, but they started a movie that I bought an advance ticket to earlier they changed the show times, like after I bought the advance ticket, to start earlier than what I bought it for. But luckily I got there early enough to actually be in there before it started. So I got my seat and all of a sudden it started like, why are they starting it so early? And I'm like, they started this movie early, what? So I'm glad we got here early, because working in a movie theater, you know, there's certain movies you kind of know, you kind of feel it's going to be busy. You want to get there early. As soon as the cleaning crew gets done cleaning, you want to get in there and get your seat. But of course, that's before the reserved seating. Now you get in there late because no one's supposed to be sitting in your seat because you bought them, you reserved them. So I kind of don't like the reserved seats, but at the same time, I kind of do in that aspect. That way you don't have to rush to get in there to find a seat, to get a good seat, because you already have your seats already picked out. But at the same time, it's like, it's annoying because you have to figure out where you want to sit before you go. Anyway, I think that's about it. There's other things on there I didn't want to touch on, but it's a long enough video. So there's other videos kind of like this, and articles, kind of like secrets, you know, as I said, 30 secrets that, you know, movie theater employees don't want you to know and stuff like that. But I did mine to 90s kind of perspective versus today, and so some of it's the same, some is different. I think I kind of gave you a little insight of maybe what you could do, or little warnings, or maybe. So, but anyway, I do like going to the movie theater. I like to see movies because it's an experience. That's what you're paying for. It's pretty much an experience, and also to see the movie. But there are some movies you just got to see on the big screen, maybe because of the sound. Because there's just some movies I kind of wish I had seen in theater. Some movies that are pretty much talkies or whatever, that doesn't really matter if you see it in the theater or not. You know, like right now, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, I want to see, but I can wait. That's a movie I can wait until it goes on streaming. Fast X, that came out earlier this year, I just watched today, and that one I kind of wish I saw on the big screen, because of the sound would have been great, because that's one of those movies you want to see in the theater because of the sound on the big screen. So, but anyway, do what you gotta do, right? So I promote, you know, hey, keep the theaters open. You know, a lot of people, you know, I think people are back going to the theaters, but they're still, I don't think they're not back as what they used to be. So try to go as much as you can. I know it's high, but go, I think, on Tuesdays, because apparently that's the day to go. A lot of cheap tickets on Tuesdays. So, and so anyway, yeah, go to the theater, support them. At least buy a drink if you don't buy anything else. For sure, sneak in the candy. Do it, okay? I do it. I don't care. They can ask me to leave. I'll be fine. Just give me a movie pass. I take a movie pass, that way I can use it for any movie, anytime, any theater. So, buy the same chain. But anyway, thanks for watching. And hopefully this video kind of helped out. That way you didn't have to go read an article and watch some other videos about the same topic. But I think most people are pretty much talking about today. So if you want to get more today, since I haven't worked in the theater since 99, I believe. So things have changed, but I can kind of tell. I do kind of look up some movie magazines, their websites, and look at their stuff. Try to keep myself a little bit updated on today's theaters. But anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time. Be nice to one another, and just have fun, you know. Live life like there's no tomorrow. And smile.